Glasses up. Hey everybody, Books and Blues podcast. We are back. The guys are still out of town. It's the two of us. We're still drinking bourbon, having a good time. And today we're talking about one of the 90s most successful television shows, Seinfeld. And the book is called My Seinfeld Years by Fred Stoller.
No. My Seinfeld Year.
Oh, My Seinfeld Year.
That's an important, it's just year, not year.
Yes, it's a very important detail. First off, I think just about everybody that's about our age grew up watching Seinfeld because there wasn't a lot else to watch. What was it? Must see TV Thursday? Do you remember it was like Friends, Seinfeld, and like Perfect Strangers? No, that was one of their shows.
Perfect Strangers. That was late '80s. That was TGIF. Yeah. What were the I don't know. I was in high school and doing sports, and I joined the military in the mid-90s.
This is pre-TiVo, by the way, for you younger viewers. When it came on, that's when you watched it.
Okay, younger viewers may not even know what TiVo is because it's all just DVR now.
I'm sorry, DVR.
Yeah.
I dated myself. Yeah, it was. So you had to watch it live.
There was just Seinfeld. That was the big show with Seinfeld.
And that was this was the biggest show of the time. Do you have a favorite episode of Seinfeld or a character maybe?
Well, obviously Kramer. Kramer's the best.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't have a favorite show, but basically any show that I watch with my brother loves Seinfeld, so he made the shows extra funny because he would later bring them up over and over again. And the one... This is interesting. Okay, the one where Kramer goes out and takes a car for a test drive, and he won't stop because he wants to see how far it can go with the gas light on. That actually kind of became a part of my life, and to this day, I always try to drive. You know I always run out of gas? Yeah, I run out of gas 2-3 times a month, and I mean I have for my entire adult life. I'm in my mid-30s, so that tells you how long I've been doing this. Because of this one show, I'm always pushing, so I guess that one left a big impact on me. And then the one, I can't remember the show, but there's one thing one bit where Kramer's talking about how he had great vision, and he was like, I saw a 1920s Buffalo penny on the other side of the Brooklyn Bridge. I don't know, it was one little line. My brother, of course, my brother recites it, and my brother always is able to get me to laugh. So we should really ask in the comments. We should have my brother say what his favorite Seinfeld episode is, and that's probably the bits that he's done that I think are really funny.
Interesting. I was trying to think back to which one I enjoyed the most, and the one that there were several, but the one that popped up at the surface first was when Jerry went on the date with the chick with the man hands. Did you ever see this?
Yeah.
So it's clearly a dude's hands for all these other shots, but I think they go Jerry's got a beard. He's like, I can't get the top off. And
then they show the beautiful lady, but then it's a guy's hand. They cut to the hand.
Open. And he's like, that wasn't a twist off. And I think they go get seafood, and she's tearing apart the crab legs.
That wasn't a twist off.
Yeah, ripping off bread, and it's very. I think I've not watched Seinfeld in a very long time, and I don't really want to, only because I'm a little bit afraid that it won't hold up as good as I remembered it. With the whole laugh track thing, TV has changed a lot.
Do they still do laugh tracks? Is there a comedy on TV right now that does a laugh track?
Big Bang Theory does.
I'm not.
It's very 90s, don't break the fourth wall or whatever, and kind of have interactions and people laughing and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Very sitcom-esque. So back to the book. Fred Stoller is, I guess, comedian, you could say. I've heard several interviews with him. He's not funny like Jerry Seinfeld is.
Okay, but the jokes that he talked about in his book, those were funny.
Yeah, he's very his comedic type would be neurotic Jewish, the kind of Larry David, Woody Allen, that kind of.
I started cracking up when he was talking about his shtick was he was really depressed and insecure, and he wouldn't even look at the audience. When he delivered his lines, he was looking down at the ground.
What's to see a comic like that?
He was saying I didn't make it on the stand-up circuit because I couldn't handle drunk guys with a small attention span. Yeah, I could totally picture, like hecklers just eating him alive.
Oh yeah, he's very meek kind of dude. He talks about just like you feel uncomfortable reading about all his interactions with everybody. Like he knew Jerry Seinfeld from the New York comedy circuit kind of before the show got big, and so he ended up in a roundabout way seeing Larry David and like had several interactions with Larry David. He's the guy from Curb Your Enthusiasm. Did a bunch of writing on Seinfeld. Kind of was the co-creator of Seinfeld with Jerry, and a lot of I think who George's character is based off of. But there's a line where he says that he sees Larry David at a party, and he's already awkward, and Larry says something to the effect of like, "We don't have to shake hands."
Yeah. It was like, what's the context for saying that to someone?
I don't know. Like, did he just walk up and be like, "Hey, Larry," and he's like, "We don't even shake hands."
No, I imagine he didn't come and shake his hand. It was like kind of an awkward, like they were looking at each other, like both thinking like,
Did we?
are we gonna? No, and he just took the initiative and said, we don't have to do that. So another funny thing is, I guess he showed up overdressed for his first day as a writer, and Jerry Seinfeld made a comment. He just said, "Nice belt." And in the book, no context is given. I think the line literally says, Jerry made a comment, quote, "Nice belt," end quote. Mm-hmm. And then it breaks to a new paragraph, and he says, "I never wore a belt again." But all week, Jerry and Mr. Allen were asking me, "Where's the belt? Where's the belt? Where's the belt?
Get the belt's on!" Like,
yeah. That was better. That was much better. I keep trying. So I keep thinking, like, were they innocently saying, "Where's the belt? You had a nice belt," like just trying to make awkward conversation? Or were they actually ribbing him, making fun of him?
Oh, they're ribbing him. They're comedians. I mean, that's, it's kind of a tough market, I think.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe. I was like, but the point I was going to make is like, the dude is so awkward in his writing that I don't even get what's going on sometimes, which kind of makes it funny.
Yeah, so the story arc for Fred Stoller is basically comedian, not so hot at it, and then get some Seinfeld gigs. And the book starts with him in modern day getting a bit part on, I don't remember what show it was. It's some show that's out right now.
Yeah, I didn't know
I
the
think it
show.
was like a Disney show or something.
Whatever it was. Oh yeah, because he mentioned that there were some young teen stars. Yeah. You're old when you don't even know the names of who the hot young teen stars are.
I don't even know. So the book starts there, kind of takes him through his career as a writer on Seinfeld and getting a couple bit parts, and then ends with him returning to the same soundstage that Seinfeld was filmed on to get some more bit parts in some other shows. And this story's a little bit melancholy because I guess I felt very awkward for him reading all these, like, he seems like a very genuine and nice guy, but not comfortable in his own skin, and so there's a lot of moments where he's kind of gets wrapped up in that.
Not comfortable in his own skin, I think is like not quite it. Like he's very cerebral, mm-hmm. and that makes him more awkward. Like I think he's kind of comfortable, like knowing that he is, because he says it, in the beginning when he's talking to that young teen actor, he's like, why are you taking advice from a 52-year-old, unsuccessful actor? Mm-hmm. He kind of making fun of himself, but he's just like so cerebral that he seems the kind of guy that overthinks stuff.
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
we've probably all been there.
Mm-hmm.
Where you just kind of overthink stuff and just kind of becomes awkward.
And it's a little bit sad too, because the book is about his kind of one season of crushing it, barely having a couple episodes basically to make it on Seinfeld.
Crushing it, not exactly.
And then going back to kind of a life of obscurity isn't the right word, because I think he's famous than most of the people, more famous than most people watching the show, have more TV spots, but also, as an adult now, he's still kind of doing these bit parts, and that.
Well, there was some foreshadowing in the opening of the book. There's this part where he's like, one of the co-writers for this, or one of the writers for the show that I was doing this bit part on. This is the opening of the book. He comes up to me and he's like, "Didn't you write for Seinfeld?" Like, and it's sort of like the meaning is like, what happened to you, man? That's like a killer resume bullet point.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So why are you doing this pathetic little bit part on this teen show as like the schmuck who doesn't get invited to the party? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of foreshadowed for the whole book. Like, basically, a lot of the book and a lot of what he writes about is like, why are you such a loser? You know, like asking that about himself.
Yeah.
But he does it in a funny way.
Yeah, he's able to make light of all that. And I think this is kind of, back to our astronaut episode, our first episode, a lot of what the astronaut talked about was basically how that was his kind of pinnacle achievement in life. Like he hit his mark of, you know, being the lead officer on International
I'm
Space
interested
Station.
to see what the connection is here.
So he talks about in this book, like he kind of wrestles with, or not wrestles with, but is comfortable with the fact that he's already done the greatest thing that he's ever going to do with his life. It's not, his life isn't over, but like, you know,
he's going to be remembered as the guy who wrote for Seinfeld, not for any of the work that he's done in the last 10 years,
or probably will do for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And I almost wonder, like, if I were in the same position, do you get comfortable with the fact that, like, you did this one really cool epic thing, and then that's as far as it goes?
You have to be comfortable with it, because that's just the way it is. So when this guy is 90 years old, so like in 2040, when they're writing his obituary in 2040, because he dies at age 92, it's going to say, yeah, he wrote for the show Seinfeld, a popular 1990s TV sitcom. That's going to be like the thing that he did. And then it'll say, like, in addition to other acting parts that they won't name.
See, but I guess the difference is with the astronaut, like the window in which he could do that in his life was a very finite window. Like his training, like there's all these other things that kind of had to be in alignment for him to be where he was.
Okay, yeah,
but
I see where you're going.
And like there was literally physical limitations, like age, like all this other stuff that, you know, he was kind of stuff that he had no control over. Whereas I feel like in the writing position, although there are a lot of variables you can't control, you can be very successful into your 80s and 90s and still kind of do more.
Okay, so that was kind of one life lesson that I took away from this book, which was like, you don't know when you're on the verge of doing something great or something memorable, because the way he got the bit on Seinfeld was he was just at a party. David Allen said, "Hey, you should write a spec script," and he you know, caveated it with, we'll never
it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, it's not going to go anywhere. We won't buy the script, you won't make it, but you should go ahead and write it anyway. And then he goes home and hems and haws, and eventually, over the course of like another month, he writes it, sends it in, and the whole time he's thinking this is going to be no big deal, but like all of these little steps lead to him landing on the Seinfeld show, and he couldn't have known that that was going to be his big thing. But the cool thing about being a writer still is like the story of Fred Stoller, Stoller. Yeah, Stoller. The story of Fred Stoller. We don't know if it's over actually, because maybe he's about to write for the next big show, which will lead to, you know, like he'll have like a run of like 4 or 5 really big shows. And so anyway, I kind of felt like that's kind of a metaphor for life. Like you really, because you're living it in current time and not looking back in retrospect, you don't know if your best work is already behind you, or if you are one step away from a big breakthrough, or if you're already right in the middle of the story of the big breakthrough. So when he was writing that script for David Allen, you know, like for a Seinfeld episode, he was like kind of, the story had already started of My Year with Seinfeld, but he didn't know it at the time. So you know, it kind of made me think like sometimes it's possible. I wonder if, like, you know, I'm right in the middle of some cool story and I just kind of don't get this is an epic story, or maybe this is another one of those failures that'll be a precursor to a better story, or maybe there is no good story left in the rest of my life. It's all a bunch of sad stories. But it's one of the interesting things about life is that you don't know. You kind of have to live it to figure it out.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of I don't know if that's the message of this book. I mean, half this book is
maybe
really
it's an unintentional message.
Unintentional message. Half of it is kind of talking about his experiences with Seinfeld, his kind of quirky outlooks on life, funny things that have happened to him, but also kind of reminiscing about this time in his life. And I mean, he didn't really see it at the time. I mean, I think everybody knew Seinfeld was a big show at the time, and it was going to be a big deal if he got on it. But it was also like, I mean, think about if he hadn't done that script, that spec script. If he just was like, Larry David told us wasn't going to go anywhere, I'm just not going to do it. And then he would have never got this, you know, gig, and basically been the highlight of his life. And I think there's something to be said for, you don't always know what's going to happen next or what's going to happen, but if sometimes those opportunities that come disguised as other things, and sometimes it's important to follow up on them. Not always. Not every opportunity is a good one, but I guess it's just looking and seeing where could that potential be. If I did this, if I spent a little bit of time up front now and worked toward this opportunity, because he didn't get paid for doing that spec script.
Yeah, no, that was interesting too. I was thinking like he worked for that for a month.
Yeah.
With no hope of getting paid. Mm-hmm. And that it wasn't like maybe they'll like it and they'll buy this. It was like I know that I'm doing this for free.
Yeah, I think that's kind of one of those business lessons too. Is maybe do a little work for free. Maybe look for some of those opportunities. But it's also kind of coming back to you got to hustle a little bit and do a little bit of work. And I think if those things are in alignment of it's a decent opportunity, you hustle a little bit, this thing could have the potential to take you to basically the pinnacle of your career.
Yeah.
And that all came from doing a spec script for working for a month for free.
Yeah. Okay, so can I say two?
Yeah.
One thing that I think about when reading this kind of stuff is I think as a parent, what kind of parents raise a child that goes to become like this? Fortunately, he tells us a little bit about his parents. So two funny stories, this is why I started saying two. Two funny stories about his parents. One about his mom, one about his dad. His mom, he wanted to start a lemonade stand in Brooklyn, and his mom said, "Don't do it! It'll fold, it'll never last." I love that, because like, what kind of kid makes any money from a lemonade stand? And his mom was like, "You'll be an utter failure, you'll be crushed, you'll never make it."
He had to take out seed money and he took out a loan for $5,000 to get fresh lemons.
His mom was like, "You won't."
Yeah, his mom.
And then he had a bunch of other funny stories about his mom. That was the best one. Okay, his dad. Best story about his dad is that his dad sat 2 feet away from the TV in his Barca lounger recliner, but he didn't sit facing the TV. He sat turned sideways, like his dad was sitting here, and the TV was here. And I was just like, that is such a weird...
Wasn't he drinking martinis too?
Yeah, he didn't explain why his dad did that. It was just this weird scene where his dad is sitting, not facing the TV, but aside the TV. There's no explanation given as to why his father did that. That was hilarious, that scene in my head.
Yeah, there was another thing where he goes near the kind of the end of his Seinfeld run. He goes back to Brooklyn and stays with his family because it's very expensive to stay in that part of town. And his mom put sticky notes on everything. So it was not just there was this one that said if you leave, turn off the lights. There was another one in the kitchen on the table that said, "There's apples in the fridge." And then he opened the fridge and there was applesauce in there, and there was a note on the applesauce that said, "I think there's applesauce inside this jar." It was still the original label there. And I'll see if I can find it. I listened to an interview with him on Dr. Drew's podcast, and they called up his mom. And it was kind of awkward because she's old. I think he's probably in his 40s.
He says, no, in the beginning he says, "I'm 50.
Oh, he's 50.
That was before the Seinfeld episode. He was in his 50s, which, oh man, that means he's in his 60s.
No, I think he's 50. I think it's 50.
Oh yeah, because the book starts after the Seinfeld years. Okay, so he's 52, 53 now.
So I think his mom is 70s, 80s, and they have some kind of awkward conversation with his mom. They call her up, and it was a little uncomfortable. His mom's kind of... to think that an environment that would produce somebody like Fred, his mom's not exactly... Mother of the Year award was not being issued in the Stoller home. Just leave it at that. Did you have another story about his childhood?
No, there was one about his mom, one about his dad. No, there's a lot more good ones. His mom was always just not encouraging him, super worried what a failure he was going to be. Actually, I thought he was funny, because at least the bits that he shared from his stand-up or comedy routine, one of the things he said, and you got to imagine him staring down at the ground and talking to the audience, he said, "My mom was not encouraging. My mom won't tell people that I'm a comedian. She just tells all the relatives that I'm retarded." But the thing is, because you know about his mom, no, his mom probably is.
Yeah, she actually said that.
She's actually telling the relatives, you know what, he's retarded. He's doing the best he can. And the guy's actually fairly smart, fairly cerebral.
Yeah,
So,
he's definitely a bright dude. Like, there's no one. By reading this, you wouldn't get the impression he's dumb. He's very well put
and his
together.
mom's, his mom go telling all the relatives, like, how is Fred doing? Oh, he's a little retarded, That's her explanation. Yeah.
Would you recommend people pick up this book?
Oh yeah, totally entertaining. So it's a quick read and it's funny and it's fast paced. If you like Seinfeld at all, if you're even a little tiny bit of a fanboy, you'll like it. Yeah, quick read, really fun, definitely.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you watch Seinfeld in the past, I think you will get a lot more out of this book than say someone that's maybe only seen a couple episodes. But all that to be said, there's a lot of good life lessons in this book, and it gives you kind of a unique perspective on how one of the biggest television shows got written. Basically, they talk about the writing process, the writers' reads at the table, how they would do some filming, how they have to pause during the filming for laugh tracks and all that stuff. Kind of a broader picture of how it all works.
Yeah, so I like books and TV shows that give insight into a particular trade. So this definitely does that. So if you're interested, even if you're not, you should just know a little bit of how television gets made.
Yeah, if you don't necessarily have to pursue a career in television to get something out of that's how it works behind the scenes kind of thing.
Yeah, so good television shows that you can watch that have a little bit of insight. Here's how television gets made. Another sitcom is 30 Rock.
Oh, 30 Rock's great.
30 Rock is
30 Rock.
hilarious. Mm-hmm. And you should read Tina Fey's autobiography, which is called...
Mr. Baby Hands?
No. What's her autobiography? It's
not the Baby Hands one?
No, it's just... I don't know, it's just Tina Fey's...
Oh, Smarty Pants?
Bossy Pants.
Bossy Pants,
yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
Super hilarious. You can get the audiobook. She reads it, really funny. And then another one that's more on the drama side that got cut after one season was Studio 16.
Oh, I love Studio 16.
Has some insight into how television gets made. It's an Aaron Sorkin TV show, so you can never go wrong watching Aaron Sorkin. And it's only one season, so there's not a lot to digest there.
I think it's on Netflix. We'll put a link in the show notes. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. We'll be back with more episodes soon.